Hey everybody, welcome back. This is quiz 3.8. We're talking about herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, and we're going to be doing ternary statements. Ternary statements are basically just if-else statements, and you can chain them the same way. And so what we're going to do is we're going to assign to category herbivore, carnivore, or omnivore, or undefined, based on what that person eats, and we have what that animal eats. And we have two variables here, eats plants and eats animals, and they say that we can change those to test our code. So let's just jump into it. Eats plants and eats animals is going to be the first category. If a If a creature, oh man, that one's going to be the toughest part, is trying to figure out what we describe the entities doing the eating as. So it'll be an animal or creature or something like that. But anyway, the creature animal thing eats plants and animals. If that's the case, we have an omnivore on our hands. Now, you don't have to code like this, but I like to. I like to move this down to the next line so that it makes clear sense about if this is true, we're going to return omnivore. If it's not, the next part of the ternary statement, which is continued from right here and on this line, is going to be evaluated. In which case, we want to make sure that if they eats plants, and they don't eat animals. If that's the case, we have an herbivore on our hands. Herbivore. Same story. If this part of the evaluation is true, this is going to be returned. However, we want to make an allowance for when it is not true. The tabs are not as lined up as maybe they could be. Maybe we could space this one a little bit. What I'm doing right now doesn't really matter, but I like to keep things as even and organized as possible, just in case something is out of place, especially with ternary operators and the first time that you're doing them. It can be very helpful to make sure that you have an organized approach. Okay, so they don't eat plants and they do eat animals, so that is going to be a carnivore. And here's the last part of the ternary statement. So if this evaluates to true, we're going to return carnivore. If this returns to false, we also know that this, and which is to say this entire expression, and this entire expression all return false. And in that case, we know the return value is going to need to be undefined. Put a semicolon there. We're already logging category to the console. We'll run a quick test where eats plants is false and eats animals is true. This ought to do carnivore. Looking good. Let's submit the answer. Hey, thanks for completing that. Excellent work, everybody, and we'll see you in the next quiz.